4 goals, 3 points, and where's Max?
I don't know.
Don't worry, we're going to save your eardrums today. Welcome in to the PHNX Rising podcast. Max would have probably screeched at this point, wouldn't he, if he were here?
I forgot how, fun it is to do the podcast when you can hear things.
That's true. That is true. Which he's not here, so we can do. I'm Owen Evans. We got Rees over here. Rees, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Again, no Max. So
no Max, that's true. We are indeed missing Max Shrimpy Shrimp Simpson. If you do know where Mr. Vacations is, please let us know. You can let us know in the chat. You can let us know on Twitter. If you know where Max is, please do let us know.
Start tracking his flight to wherever.
We miss him, or do we? But we miss him. We love you, Max. We've got a lot to talk about today.
A win.
And a big win.
A good win, yeah.
A good win. Probably Rising's most complete performance of the season.
Yeah,
probably by a fair way, to be frank. There are caveats to add. There are more things we'll discuss on that front, but a big win. El Paso coming up on the weekend. There's a lot to talk about. So should we start with big picture? Rees, what do we think about the weekend? About that win? 4-1 over the Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
It's hopefully the start of something. I mean, really, you hinted at the caveats, though, and I feel like that's the main thing that needs to be addressed early, is this Colorado Springs team isn't great by any stretch of the imagination. They're outside the playoff places as of right now. They currently sit 10th. They're not very good away from home. We talked about that last week. They conceded a lot of goals away from home, despite how good their defense is when they play up in Colorado Springs. So I expected them to struggle in Phoenix in the heat. But to see it like this, that there's the positive, to go off the caveat is 4-1's 4-1 at the end of the day. I mean, Rising were just exceptionally clinical at a level that we have not seen ever really this season. The way they just got into the box and did not waste touches before taking a shot, it was very refreshing to see, and hopefully a sign of things to come down the final stretch of the season.
Right, and one thing you brought up there, obviously not wasting touches inside the penalty area. We can look at the stats, we can look at the data on that one. 17 touches in opposition box for Phoenix Rising. They did take 11 shots from inside the penalty area. So yeah, they're not wasting chances there. I mean, the first half was really a clinical one, right? 6 shots in total. All 6 were on target. And of those 6, 3 find the back of the net, and 2 of them led to rebounds that were ultimately turned in. So 5 of the shots had some role in terms of creating a goal, plus another that was on target that was spilled out. And if there was more, if you have more players crashing in, maybe you get something there as well. But overall, yeah, you really can't complain with that kind of a return, can you?
No, and the Pierce Rizzo goal came off such an awkward angle. Isan Sako had a couple of shots, like as you mentioned, that took the rebounds. Adam Beaudry in goal for Colorado Springs was iffy in the most polite ways of possible. I know he's a very young goalkeeper, and he's making saves, but the issue was he was spilling the ball out. I mean, Rémi Cabral's goal is pretty much perfect of that. Isan Sako takes this shot, and then Beaudry spills it to the back post, and Rémi Cabral right there doesn't have too much to do besides put it on frame, which he does easily. And, it just, again, Rémi Cabral got into the right spaces, which is, as a striker, you're not always going to score the prettiest goals. That's something you'd love to see, and I hope that he can really build a confidence again down the stretch of the season.
Absolutely. Now you look at some of the stats from this game, right? We've spoken in the past about Phoenix Rising possession FC, kind of the moniker that can be given to them at times. Whereby, I mean, you look at Tampa Bay Rowdies, they go out, they have 2/3 of the possession, and they don't really create enough from it, especially in the first half. In this game, 52.6% possession overall, but they create, and whether you are a big believer in expected goals or not, right? If you look at the XG for this one, 2.79. A lot of high quality opportunities for this Phoenix Rising team in this one. Again, that we haven't seen consistently so far this year. You brought up Rémi Cabral. Obviously, he gets a goal. That's big in terms of coming back from injury. You want to get him confident. You also have another player who's struggled at times with injury this year in Ryan Flood, who chipped in with one himself off of the bench and showing that he has things to offer, even though he may be in that more of a substitute role going forward. You look at the acquisition, obviously, of Daniel Flores in there, and maybe you're not looking at Ryan Flood playing a lot. Emi Quayshow, what does his role look like with the team going forward? Those are things that are obviously we'll come back to maybe a little bit later on in the pod, but it's interesting to see, I think, the contribution from a guy like Ryan Flood, from Rémi Cabral, who I know gets a lot of flack sometimes from certain people, but ultimately, is finding ways to contribute now. Overall, just one of those games where it's hard to really pick anything at in a negative sense. Obviously, the goal conceded was sloppy, very sloppy.
Yeah, and to be honest, it felt a bit like Birmingham Legion that game when, Rising went up 2-0, ended up drawing 3-3. You just kind of got that flashback in your mind when Zach Zandy scored there, because Rising had dominated the opening 15 minutes, went up 2-0, and then all of a sudden make a bad mistake at the back, and it's 2-1. And from there, Colorado Springs, though, they didn't push as much as I really thought they could have, and they didn't take advantage of their few opportunities. Rising really did a good job recovering and shifting to make sure that never happened again the rest of the game.
They did. And then as you I mean, look, you look at what the difference is between that game and Birmingham Legion, and it's something that Pa pointed out, and obviously it's pretty obvious. One of the biggest differences here is that Phoenix Rising went out and got the third goal. It didn't set them back in a way that the Birmingham Legion game, obviously not ideal when you give up the one and they still just looked as though Birmingham Legion were on the front foot effectively ever since the water break in that first half. That isn't what we saw at all from Colorado Springs. And again, there's limitations to this, right? Colorado Springs, not a great team, but there's also not a lot in this West. It was a 6-pointer. This was one of those games whereby if you lost this game, you were in trouble. Yeah. You were in real trouble if you didn't pick up points in this game. In fact, Rising would have been on 25 points. They would have actually been outside of the playoff positions if they'd lost that match. They'd have dropped to 25 and Colorado Springs would be on 27.
Yeah, I mean
and now instead Rising are in 6th. They're in touching distance to the home playoff. It's how close this league is.
I mean, they're currently 3 points behind second place Sacramento. Mind you, Sacramento does have a match in hand, but
as do El Paso Wolves on the same points, as do San Antonio, who are 1 point ahead of Rising as well, by the way.
Can you imagine how different it would have felt if they had lost this game and you're on 25 points in 9th place? That it would have been a totally different podcast we'd be having. We'd be very, very concerned about the final 9 games of the season. Now there's a little bit of optimism, a little bit of a glimmer of hope from this game that maybe there is something. I mean, there's so many home games down the final stretch that it's a good place to build momentum.
It is. We did get to see a debut as well in this one from Calvin Arasa. What did you see from him in the brief spell that we saw him in?
I mean, on the 4th goal, he was really, really good in terms of he played the ball out wide to, I believe it was Charlie Dennis, who then took it in and played it across goal for Ryan Flood. It was a good ball. Again, other than that, though, I didn't really think there were too many things just due to the small amount of minutes that he played. It was about 20 or so, including stoppage time. He come on at the 60th minute mark and had a half hour to play, I think I'd be able to judge a bit more. But I mean, the pace is something that's interesting. I don't know if it's pace that, could sustain a 90-minute performance, or if it's pace that is a super sub, come on when it's tired legs kind of pace, but it's interesting nonetheless.
It is. We heard from him today talking about coming here to Phoenix. That was an interesting conversation about just, the message that he was so long coming here, and the push and thinking that he's going to be able to kind of do a real job here. He's a few weeks off from being able to go probably a full game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously makes sense. He's coming in more in preseason form. Apparently had some issues around his visa and all of that as well. So been a pretty iffy trip to get him here, but he is here now. He is here. He has played with the team for the end of the season. It'd be interesting to see what he can bring to this. Now, we will have a little bit more on what exactly we can take slightly longer term looking ahead from this last game going forward on the other side of the break. But first, Max isn't here. Rumor has it he chickened out of the pod today.
Oh gosh,
he knows where this is going. Let's talk about chicken and pickle. Max I also hear. It really, really bigs up his pickleball record.
He does. That's true.
That's what I hear, and like actually, kind of takes credit. I mean, it won't be the only thing he takes credit for, but what he's not going to take credit for is the good time at Chicken and Pickle. Although he'll claim that he's the one who sent you there as well. That's Max. They have obviously they got pickleball there. They have got all lots of food as well, rotisserie chicken, burgers, wings, happy hour and live music, so much more than just pickleball at Chicken and Pickle. And they have more than 50 indoor or outdoor TVs for you to cheer for your favorite teams as well while you're there. And of course, beat Max in pickleball, because as we know, not that good. This family-friendly fun awaits you over at Chicken and Pickle. Visit chickenandpickle.com to plan your visit today. Now, Max was speeding out of the studio today, wasn't he?
He was.
He probably get himself a speeding ticket, won't he?
Yes.
If you want to actually enjoy speed instead of getting a speeding ticket like Max.
Man.
There we go. We're really hitting this one now. The NASCAR Championship weekend is coming to Phoenix Raceway. It is going to be here. They're going to be rotating it around after this one, so you better get in here for this. It's a grueling season, started in February, and it all comes down to this. Don't miss your chance to witness the NASCAR Championship weekend in person. It's coming to Phoenix Raceway October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets for Sunday's Cup Series Championship race sell out every year, so make sure you move fast to get them before they're gone. And of course, that championship weekend is going to be on the road starting in 2026. This is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for a while. Make sure to go over and get those tickets now. Hospitality and upgrades also still available. Get yours now at the link in our show notes. Right. Is that cringy enough for you? I'm taking a leaf out of Max's game.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Max wasn't here, so I thought it was going to be free, but unfortunately...
But see, we're just doing it for a laugh now. This is the thing. We can mock Max.
That is true.
It's ironic when we do it.
Yeah,
you could cringy say, when he does.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think
it's still cringe.
It's still cringe. Shout out to everyone in the chat as well, by the way. We got Willem, we got Bonnie, we got Fat Kid. We are going to talk about Fat Kids coming in a minute. Let's actually do that, right? Because this is the kind of thing here. Fat Kid in the chat. First comment we had in today, will we stay consistent? And that's kind of what I want to talk about, I think, now. For a little bit. This Phoenix Rising team, you can look at it and say, have they turned a corner in this game? How many times have we said that this season? Whereby it felt like, okay, things are finally starting to turn around. Things are finally starting to come together. And because you have a good game. And then the next game they come out and just are abysmal. And it's happened.
Yeah. I mean, I think back to Rising's last home win before this 2.5 months ago against Orange County. In fairness,
I know it's also because Rising have had very few home games. Like one a month, so it's not easy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a very long time. But June 7th, they beat Orange County 3-1. They were on a good winning streak at that point. They'd beat New Mexico in the league, beat them on penalties in the Cup as well, beat Monterey Bay and Vegas up to that point. But that one really felt like the Rising of old in a way. It just felt like they were all over Orange County for all 90 minutes in that game. And then they followed up with difficult games against Tulsa and Charleston. Two good squads, by the way, but only get a point. And then the Texoma game that we all know and love followed that. It was a difficult stretch to follow that win. This stretch that Rising's got ahead features 2 home games. El Paso is good, but Vegas is bad. All right, so it's easy. It's an easy way to keep consistency, and then a test against Sacramento at the tail end of that 3-game stretch. I think that this run favors Rising more to just keep this going. And again, later in the season, you hope that it keeps going like that.
You would hope that it keeps going. You look at these next few games. I think here's the thing, right? We start with the will we stay consistent? To me, maybe that's the question more so than has Rising turned a corner. And you hear kind of the comments, 1 or 2 people will say things like, "Oh, we're back." It's way too early to say that after 1 game. I actually remember, and this is, I tell you what, this is growth for you. 2022, I remember kind of saying we're back after Rising 1 in San Antonio.
Oh my!
And then it was just appalling from there on out. So don't throw that out there yet. I think, to me, the question of whether Rising has turned a corner is one that you can really start to bring up should they get a good result against El Paso. And to me, for a home game, no matter how good El Paso have been, that's winning. Obviously, you take a draw, but you're going to want to win, really. If you want to be serious about challenging for a home playoff position, you need to be able to win these kind of games. But it's not one that's fully going to be answered until you get to the end of the Vegas game as well. Because at the end of the day, beating El Paso doesn't mean a whole lot if you then lose to Vegas.
Yeah.
Because Vegas aren't very good. And that can happen. Rising has dropped points against poor teams at times this season. They've got to find a way to be really consistent in those moments and not drop points against poor teams or drop points against teams that just aren't as, in it. I mean, okay, FC Tulsa have obviously done really, really well. You look at Monterey Bay losing away from home to them and the way that they've played.
One of the worst games ever.
Barely squeaking past Las Vegas. Orange County away, abysmal. Orange County, they're better teams, but again, these are teams, if you want to host a playoff game, you need to be able to show that you can beat. Lexington, both showings, not good enough. If you can find consistency over these next few games, I think you're setting yourself quite well. I don't think this is the most important 3-game stretch that we're going to see. I actually think that that's coming a little bit later. It's really a 2-game stretch with 2 home games against Oakland and New Mexico in successive weekends. That's going to be critical for me, especially given New Mexico have had a bit of a drop-off. They are slipping down the table at the moment. Oakland just on the outside looking in, but seeing an uptick in the results, especially with recent acquisitions. To me, those 2 are going to be really, really critical games because they're 2 teams that both kind of have the potential to find themselves in this mixer. It's so tight. This league is so ridiculously tight. Again, I believe it's if you look at the difference between first and second, it's the same as second and 12th.
Yeah, it is.
FC Tulsa. FC Tulsa have come out of this. Seem to be the only team that aren't intent on playing chicken with the playoff line. Like everybody else is so intent on just being inconsistent. That's also something that's really going to help Phoenix Rising potentially as you look at this.
Yeah, I mean, the team in 4th right now in the Western Conference, San Antonio, they have a negative goal difference, a -1. And in fact, there's a lot of teams with negative goal differences in the playoffs right now. And you usually don't see that. You usually just kind of, what is it, bell graphs where, the higher ones are at the top.
Somehow Orange County have a positive goal difference in 8th.
Weird.
Although in fairness, they've got games in hand on everybody pretty much.
But I mean, one thing I do think about this thing about is this going to build consistency for Rising is This is one of the best performances we've seen, not from Rising just this season, but attacking recent memory. Just how clinical they were. I just think that will also be so hard to sustain. I think it's a building block, not something that you can really become consistent at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have to be honest, as I look at the Western Conference and I look at the picture of how tight everything is, a lot of teams that are struggling to get any kind of consistency going. You know what I see? What do you think I see?
I'm scared to
Beyond
hear.
opportunity for Phoenix Rising, what else do you think I see? I think I see something setting up perfectly for this year's annual tradition of having the champion just utterly drop off a cliff the next year.
Yeah.
Because when I look at this standings, I see a lot of inconsistency that would allow teams that aren't necessarily that good to go on a deep run, potentially even go as far as winning it. Because at that point, if you can see through the West, even if you're playing one of the top teams in the East, it's not impossible that you pull off an upset in the final. Any team could beat any team on their day in this league. It's kind of the nature of it. And to me, it almost really, really heightens the risk that an undeserving team might actually win the West this
Yeah.
year. And to be fair, it's because there's only one deserving team, and that's FC Tulsa right now. There's only one team that I think is actually consistent in this league right now, and it's FC Tulsa. And if they don't win in the playoffs, which is entirely possible, it's a playoff competition. They got to win 3 games to win the West. Any slip up buries them. It's entirely possible. And to me, then it really raises the risk of a team that I'd say is probably undeserving of winning the West going through, and then just the heightened expectations that come with that for next year.
Yeah, I don't even want to try to make a playoff prediction at this point because I mean, even
I don't even know how it's going to finish.
East isn't like you've got Louisville, Charleston at the top, and then there's a 14-point gap between second and third place in the East.
I think it's just we're seeing again. It's 3 teams are just pulling away right now.
Yeah,
and it's Louisville and Charleston in the East. It's FC Tulsa in the West, and everyone else is just battling it out for position underneath them, and it's relatively tight again. It's not as tight as the West in the East, right? You have got tiers in there. You look at your North Carolina, Loudoun, Pittsburgh, Detroit. They're probably the teams that are battling for a playoff space, but home playoff place. But Hartford aren't exactly far behind, and do have a game in hand. Hartford on an insane run right now of form. That's really something, isn't it? When you look at their run of form recently and the results they pulled off, a big win against Rhode Island on the weekend as well. Do you see Owain Preston's comments after being named team of the week? I think we'll discuss that one later, but. Oh gosh, comments about like it was his first game, and he's making comments afterwards after being named Player of the Week about how he kind of already hates Rhode Island as well.
that rivalry has really kicked off this season. It's been fun to watch.
I do dislike the name though.
Was it El Clamico?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It kind of maybe this is just a bit more of a. I don't know. I see it as something whereby there's a real push in America sometimes to be like, we need to give these things names.
Yeah.
And it feels forced. A lot of them do. Like there's a point whereby it's funny because it's like, you just don't get the humor. It doesn't work when everyone's doing it. These things take time. And I also don't like them because they're often quite corporate led. It feels sometimes the teams push for names. This is the far more kind of organic, which I prefer.
No,
I gotta be honest.
I completely agree with that. I mean, like El Trafico, that one.
It makes me cringe.
Yeah.
But it's
just leave El Clasico alone. Stop trying to Americanize. I don't even know. It's just like El Clamico. That's just ugh.
Yeah, but we just don't have the big brains to understand Lipper FC, do we?
That Mike Watts loves talking about that on the broadcast whenever either side plays, and they don't even have to be playing each other. He just loves mentioning it.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, okay. Okay, I think we can safely leave that topic of conversation there, don't you?
Hopefully.
Hopefully not come back to it. When we get back on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking about El Paso Locomotive Rising's opponent coming up this Saturday. Stick around. First, we're going to tell you about our friends down at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because nobody does it better than Gila River. You probably were down there at some point because, of course, Rising didn't used to play that far away from one of their locations in Wild Horse Pass. They've also got Lone Butte, Bequeva, and Santan Mountain as well. Go all in. They've got over 4,500 slots and live table games. You can also catch all of the action at any of Gila River's sports books as well. I know Max enjoys going there. Max, of course, loses. You can do better than Max. We know that Max is not good at gambling, is he, Rees?
I don't know.
Would you ever listen to his picks?
Oh, no, definitely not.
No. There you go. You can pick better than Max. So go down to their sports books. And while you're there, check out all the other dining options as well. They got upscale to approachable, casual to classy, and bar to bar none as well. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. Meanwhile, we got a new partner on board as well, haven't we? In Rally House. We've been doing our little research, haven't we?
We have.
We were doing our research. Max picked that one up as we were doing it, actually, last week during the pod. I have to be honest, I hadn't heard of Rally House before. Now I have. And you look in, they have got Phoenix Rising gear. You know how that's a rare one.
I mean,
that is a rare one.
That earns a thumbs up in
that earns a thumbs up from our book. They've got all other Arizona sports teams as well. So whether you want the Suns, the Diamondbacks, I was about to say a team that's no longer here, ASU, we might have to mention the Wildcats. I don't think we really have to. They only carry Arizona sports teams here. Every time you visit a Rally House, you're guaranteed to find something new, unique, matches your game day vibe. They've got locations in Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale, as well as online. Find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today. Right. We've got a game coming up this weekend.
We do. Another one.
How are we feeling? Because there's a lot of goals in this matchup so far this season. El Paso Locomotive. How are we feeling?
I'm just worried that Rising used up all their goals last weekend.
That is true. First time we're going to see El Paso Locomotive here in Phoenix. Rising has played over there twice this season. They played them very early in the season in a league match. They also played them in their final Jägermeister Cup encounter of the season. First game was a 4-4 draw with that Mo Traore hit from distance to ultimately level it. That was a moment. You also had a 2-2 draw in the Jägermeister Cup. A lot of goals. That one came up in the press conference today. The way that Pa put it down was, this is two teams that like to play football the right way, that will go out and attack and put an entertaining game on. And then he kind of whispered into the mic, and also forget to defend sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair reflection of what we've seen from these two teams.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, both teams are in the top 3 for goals scored in the Western Conference. And I feel like if we highlight, again, too much of the goal scoring, it's going to be 0-0. I just can see it. I can see it happening. But
oh, dear.
I mean, El Paso, though, again, they've been fun to watch this season. Wilmer Cabrera has... I don't even understand how he's done it this year. But he's got his son scoring 10 goals. Andy Cabrera.
That's just
10 goals from Andy Cabrera. 13
Wilmer Andy Cabrera Jr.,
yeah.
Isn't it? So if you know him as Wilmer Jr., it's the same guy. He goes by Andy, apparently. We've discovered this year.
Yeah, odd. I mean, he established, in a way, USL guy. And then all of a sudden...
To be fair, though, I guess it's just we probably didn't know that. And
I mean, RGV probably... all 10 people at those games probably never took any notice. But they probably had 11 players, so that's... I
was there people as well.
Yeah, so
sometimes.
It's 12. Plus the other side. Okay, maybe they're up to 30.
The officials?
Oh, yeah, 34. Okay.
They were often on the same plane as everyone else the next morning, by the way.
I mean,
It's RGV. There's
There,
like
I
one
can't
flat
imagine.
out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad that team isn't here anymore. Sorry. Sorry to any
Well,
viewers in McAllen
just wait till
or Edinburgh.
I mean, look at all the USL League One expansions. Once we get promotion relegation, get ready to learn Brownsville, Texas. Owen.
Oh, there we go. There we go. But yes, obviously Cabrera playing well. A lot of the threat though is coming, I think, from you look at the link up between guys like Amanda Moreno, Gabi Torres. Gabi Torres has been huge.
Yes, he has.
This year, just in terms of what he's done there. He leads that team in chances created, with 29, and he's shown it every time he's playing against Phoenix Rising. He's been a threat, and not just a threat in terms of creation, but in goal scoring. He's scored in each of the 2 games that Rising have played against El Paso Locomotive. Gabi Torres, he's turns out we already kind of knew this, but he's good.
He's really good. I mean, all competitions this season, 4 goals, 10 assists. That's more than he got in his entire Rising career. Granted, he did battle injury. The 23 and 24 was an up and down year,
He's
but
a good player.
he's putting it together. I mean, the 2022 4-game campaign he had here, everyone saw that. Fully fit, 3 goals and assists that year. And, with Rising's luck this year of former players playing against them, it feels like he's destined for at least another goal.
I mean, I was going to say, look, when it comes to score predictions at the end, I'm still working on what I think is going to be the case. But you know what? I feel quite comfortable saying he's going to score.
Yeah.
And I said that today as well, chatting with some other people over at the press conference. It was that's probably my prediction for this coming weekend, is just that Gabi Torres is going to cause you a bit of a headache. But as we look at El Paso, right? Again, they're on some pretty reasonable form of their own. I mean, they've dropped a couple of draws there, but they're also, they're not losing in these last few games. They had the win against Sacramento, some draws against Monterey Bay and Miami FC. Miami better than they have been this year.
Yeah, and away to Miami.
For those of you,
difficult.
and away to Miami, which can be difficult because it's miserable weather there at the moment. It is hot, it is humid, it's not nice. Been there, done that. It's not easy. Seen Phoenix Rising lose there, so
that was awful. That was.
It was. They announced 1496 apparently as in attendance that game. I'm not sure if I believe that. They beat Vegas Lights 6-0. El Paso, I mean Vegas are Vegas, but still.
Yeah, 6.
Omaha in the cup with a win. Drew against Rising, no matter what people want to say about penalties. It's a draw. It's a draw, and it was a draw.
And it was also a meaningless game.
Yeah.
Because it literally
by the time it went
anything.
to penalties, it really didn't matter, did it, really, to either team? You needed an outright win, I think, both teams in that game to give yourself a real chance of going through. Meanwhile, it's just an interesting one for me to see what it is that they're going to do in this game. Anyone else you'd pick out to pay attention to?
I feel like he, hasn't had the best of seasons this year, or like he's been good, but I don't think he's been as good as I expected him to be, 5 months ago. But Frank DeRoma in midfield, he's always been a pest for Rising when he playing against him when he was with Vegas a few years back, and then this season to open the year, he had a really good game against Colorado Springs, and then followed up not good game against Rising. But I do think he's a player of top quality. The issue is his size. It prevents him from going to higher levels. But I expect him to be on the bulk of anything in midfield for El Paso.
I also think it matters in terms of how he is laid out there with other players, right? If he's playing off of guys like Moreno and Gabi Torres, it opens up more opportunity there. I think that's an important part of this as well. Quite how you slot him in there and how you slot the whole team together really, does impact what you're going to get out of Frank DeRoma. Look, it's if past results are anything to really come by, they're also going to need a performance from Jamali Waite in this one, because much as Rising is going to need something from Patrick Rakowski, because there are just so many goals that have been scored in these matchups. It's been so open. the games between Phoenix Rising and El Paso so far this season, that both sides are going to need their goalkeepers to really stand up in this game.
Oh, that just worries me, doesn't it? Just hearing something like that. But I mean, Waite has been a
Game
good
to start
goalkeeper.
Tristan Henry for you, Rees?
I don't think it really matters at this point, but
Okay.
like I don't. I've said this before. I feel like there's not a big enough gap between him and Patrick Rakowski that it like I do think you need to start Rakowski. He's better, but I don't think it's that big of a gap.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel as though when you look at these two goalkeepers, and I think it's fair to say that by and large they are not. Patrick Rakowski was, I think, a good goalkeeper in this league, and he's not quite at that level that we've seen him reach in the past. He has his moments where he really does, step up and show it off, but I don't think we see it on a consistent basis. I don't think we've seen a particularly good performance from Tristan Henry all season long. Which maybe he's due one at this point, but ultimately, yeah. But I think you are in a point whereby you need the goalkeepers on both sides to step up, because I just see this as being a game whereby there's a real risk it could be quite open. Anything else? I think as we look at this now from Rising's lens, let's say from Phoenix Rising's lens, as we look at this.
I'd say just continue. They need to continue to be clinical. I mean, again, we talked about how they need to be consistent. Maintaining that level of clinicalness that they showed last week is going to be impossible. It's what they did last week was such a high level of it that we'll never see again.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, entirely.
But if they can just deliver something, that like half of that in a way, where they're not wasting touches in the box, they're not looking just slow in the final third, they're getting there and going. They just need to keep doing that. They don't need to just worry and kind of recycle back when one thing doesn't go their way. We saw against Lexington both times where it's just constant recycling and then trying again and then not even really committing to anything. And all of a sudden the ball's back at the feet of Patrick Rakowski or Tristan Henry, who's ever in net. They just need to keep the foot on the gas when they're in the final third.
How does that look like in the midfield?
I don't know, because to me, this midfield has been so odd in a way because, I mean, you have Hope Avayevu, who is, a great creator at times. It's kind of slowed down as of late. It hasn't been as, just prolific as it was to open the year. But then, outside of that, the two guys there, whether it's Okello or Emmers at the 8, or Skiers or Saint at the 6, none of that pairings, neither of them really make too much of a difference going forward. And I'd like to see Emmers take a step up. I feel like we've been kind of waiting for that. I think his average pass distance is negative by like half yard, but still negative. I'd like to see him get him involved more and defend. I mean, I do think it kind of works out that if you play a guy like Skiers there defensively, he's really, really good defensively. You can't find too many sixes that are going to be better than him defensively. The issue is the second Skiers gets the ball at his feet, that's where his struggles begin. In a game like this, I feel like it almost benefits him because you're kind of not going to need him with the ball because it's going to be just so fast-paced. But then other way, if you go down a goal, all of a sudden you could be in big trouble.
Yeah, no, of course, and that's one of those things that we've seen that at times before at Phoenix Rising. It's how do you match up, the threat from one midfielder who's going to be a bit more, maybe defensive minded in some ways, is not going to be as progressive with their passing, is going to look a lot more sideways or maybe backwards at times. And we do see more than that from JP Skiers at times, but you do also get, I think, that slowing down of play there, and you need a more progressive midfielder alongside them. And I don't mean I hope Avayevu is, I think, a lot more of a he's the guy who'll maybe set the final ball up, but he's not going to be the workhorse in midfield in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. That's not a critique of him. He is a more creative player by his nature. He is not Carlos Harvey and won't be.
No.
And we don't kind of look at it that way. I mean, if you were looking at CNM as a guy who was going to be your Carlos Harvey here, that's not what we've seen so far at all. And the problem is that when you have that in the midfield, it kind of stalls at times. It runs a risk. And it also runs you into those positions where you get that negative passing in the midfield that just leads to recycling of possession for no apparent reason. I mean, I recall there was one moment just chatting about the Tampa Bay game, right, where Noble Okello, again, in the midfield, you need a guy like that to be a bit more progressive. He's playing lots of JP Skips and just plays like under no pressure, plays this like short tap little pass sideways, backwards. It's not helpful. And that's really the role that Rising's missed. As much as we've spoken, I think, in the past few years about Rising and their lack of recruitment of a true goal-scoring 9, I also think that since Carlos Harvey's departure, that's a role that this team has really struggled to fill, is his role. And I'm not saying you're going to replace Carlos Harvey perfectly, because you're not. He was a player who, when Rising brought in, was kind of in those in-between stages of being a USL player or being at a higher level. That's why I was actually very disappointed when he first went to Minnesota and was only playing in the next pro team, because I didn't think that he was of that level. He was very much a guy who was a top championship or should really be breaking into MLS kind of guy. I'm glad he's gotten more games at times since that point. But they haven't replaced that, and that remains, I think, a worry. Maybe not so much in this game, which is, I think, going to be, again, just quite an open game. But we'll see. Right. Are we getting to that point, Rees?
We are.
We're getting to that point. Right, chat, you can drop your score predictions in there as well. We're going to make our score predictions. Right, I said Gabi was going to score. I'm going to go another high-scoring game. I'm going to go 2-2.
I was going to go 2-2 as well, but I'll be different, and I'll predict some more high-scoring. We'll go 3-3.
Oh,
just to...
I think he's not... go on, tell me.
I can't see a winner just based off how this result. Well. 3 goals. I feel like you kind of get a weird goal score in there when it's 3. Give me a Kelvin first goal.
Kelvin first goal.
Okay. I'll back Rémi again, and tough one now. We'll go Pop for 1.
Pop off the bench.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting choice. I'm going to say another player's first goal. I'm going to go... Let's drop my pen there. Danny Flores. I'm going to say he's going to get a goal in this one.
Yeah.
Who else am I going to take? I will take another Rémi goal, as you said. So those are my 2. And then Gabi's going to score at least 1 on the other side. Looking at some of these comments in the chat. James Wilson, 3-2 Rising. Bonnie with 1-1. James says he likes what he saw from Kelvin. You're obviously expecting a goal from him there. William with it's going to be tough. He says 2-2 draw. I'll tell you what, we'll throw it as well to our producer. We have kind of ignored up until this point, but Shane's behind the match. Shane, come on, let's give me a score prediction.
I'm gonna be me and say 0-0.
He's going to say 0-0. I mean, to be fair, we have been bigging up the fact this has been open this season, this matchup, which means it's going to be cagey.
I feel like every time we've said a match is either going to be open or it's going to be really defensive, we've gotten the complete opposite.
This league is so bizarre.
USL. Yeah.
It's actually at a point whereby, to be fair, I'm almost just saying, is it time to just stop analysis of the Western Conference? Because nothing makes sense.
I think we might need to become like a just Louisville City podcast.
FC Tulsa podcast.
Yeah, just
does anyone cover it? I don't recall ever seeing anyone covering when I've been there. Do people cover FC Tulsa?
We'll be the first.
We will be there. So Max isn't here to defend himself, so we can say whatever we want that he said. Max said as he was leaving that he thinks Phoenix Rising is going to lose 3-0 this week.
Wow.
Did you hear that, Rees?
I did not, but I did.
You did hear that,
very
didn't
clearly.
You, Rees? Yeah. So Max is an enemy of the club. It turns out.
I feel like we've known that for a good time now. Though.
We have. Amanda, 2-1 Rising, Hope, and Charlie. Charlie's a good shout.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, actually. There's one more thing I think to touch on before we kind of move on from this. Charlie Dennis. the way he's being relegated almost to the bench right now, and I understand that obviously you've got more pieces coming in. I just feel like we've kind of forgotten the fact that he had a really, really good month and has just now been like dumped.
It's just a weird spot for him to be in because, he's a right winger or a midfielder. I don't feel like he adds enough to the midfield if you keep Hope in there. If you take out Hope, but you're not going to take out Hope, he fits right in. And then on the right wing, you've got Isan Saka, who I feel like they're in very similar, parts of the just skill level. And the thing with Saka is I don't think he's quite good enough as a 9. I think he's quite good on the right.
I would agree.
And I think
Saka's finishing lets him down sometimes.
I agree with that.
We saw that actually late in the game in the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Creative, good. But I think while you can play him at 9, and obviously we know that Pa-Modou Kah likes the versatility that you get from Isan Saka, I'd say that I wouldn't personally start him at the 9 if you can avoid it.
I completely agree with that. And then like Rivera on the left, you Calvin's there too. It's a lot of depth.
Calvin prefers to play on the left as well. That's something that came out today in the press conference. So yeah. Fatty, did they not see my Dennis the Menace banner? Maybe not. I'm not sure if we read Amanda's score in there, but 2-1. She said, yes, Hope and Charlie. Gabi for El Paso, because of course.
Yeah.
Of course, Gabi's going to score. I feel like we've all resigned to if El Paso score a goal, we're going to see Gabi Torres score a goal because this guy just, I don't know. Gabi tearing Phoenix apart ever since he left in games when they play.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it?
And he's also the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be honest, from knowing him around this club, just nice guy. Obviously wish him all the best. Whenever Mackenzie's on the field before the game, we seem to win, says Amanda. I don't know, weird superstitions.
If it gets the job done, it gets the job done.
It gets the job done. All right, when we come back on the other side, we will be talking about some other things going on around USL because why not? We might as well, right? Just get chatting about USL random fun stuff. But first, before we do that, Max isn't here for us to try and make him wear a hat, is he?
He is not.
That's a shame because normally we kind of do the whole thing where we kind of put him in between the rock and the hard place because he likes the hat. He just doesn't like the message. The message is, of course, U of A. We don't really like it either.
No.
But, if you do like it, branded bills. They also have better choices for those of you better choices in your life, like ASU hats as well, and all other kinds of hats. Not just these sports teams that obviously we throw out there all the time. They do have 40 partnerships with universities, which of course includes ASU, U of A, and others. They also partner with the Phoenix Suns. And they are a local company from here in Mesa, Arizona. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. You can head over to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHNX. You get 15% off of your first order. And of course, as well, it's getting towards the end of summer here, isn't it? Now?
Thankfully.
So you may need to pair up your Branded Bills hat. It's still too bright out there.
Very.
You have to get some sunglasses. If you are getting sunglasses, make sure to go check out Shady Rays. I know Max, this guy, you can't take him off of his face, can you?
No.
He's here in the office wearing them.
Only time you can take him off his face is when he wears them on his shirt.
That is true. And when he did that the once, Wangera gave him a really kind of tight embrace that ended up with a broken. But they do have their replacement policy. And so, it's not really a risk there, is there? He got himself a new pair and all good to go. All good to go again. Well, we've teamed up with Shady Rays. You can bring you an exclusive offer. If you head over to shadyrays.com, use code PHNX, you're going to get 35% off of polarized sunglasses so that you too can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Right, Rees. USL Championship.
It's a league with 24 clubs.
It's a league with 24 clubs. Anything catching your eye around the league right now?
I mean, it has to be the news from Loudon, doesn't it?
The news from Loudon, yeah.
Ryan Martin getting to inform that he's going to be
That's-
dismissed at the end of the season.
Yeah. Shout out John Morrissey breaking that story yesterday, I believe. Ryan Martin, the manager over at Loudon, is going to be let go at the end of the season.
It's bizarre. I mean, Loudon, I don't know if you saw the article from The Athletic earlier this season, but it seems like they're kind of in trouble with the USLPA with some of the treatment and stuff there. And Ryan Martin has them
Doesn't
in fourth
shock
place.
me, by the way.
They're in fourth place with all that.
I also kind of want to point this one out right now. I'm going off this one from Pablo Iglesias Mora, who obviously until recently was at the Athletic.
Mm-hmm.
So put whatever stock into what he's saying as you will. He said that he'd heard very similarly that Ryan Martin is being let go at the end of the year. He'd actually heard that Ryan Martin had been given a win or lose your job ultimatum ahead of the club's match on the last weekend. To be clear, the match on the weekend that Loudon were playing was against away to Charleston Battery. I'm sure Darren Kerr said it's not confirmed, by the way, William in there, but it isn't confirmed. That's the thing. It's not official, but they're also not going to say that officially for now. So according to a former Athletic reporter here, he was given a win or lose your job ultimatum ahead of going away to face Charleston Battery. What delusional planet are you on? And they lost that game, right? Yeah, it's Charleston away. Most teams in this league will lose that game.
Yeah. And it's what they've done with Loudon or what he's done with Loudon this year. We kind of always joke before this year, like Loudon always started the year off hot and then they crumbled because they just didn't have the squad, they didn't have the squad depth. And this year it felt the same, but they just kept going. You've never made the playoffs before in your life span as a club. What 2019? I just cannot fathom this decision making. Can you imagine last year Vegas sacks Dennis Sanchez mid-August? Like that just
I just don't get the sense that Loudon's a very well run club.
No.
Do you? I mean,
is Lashbrook back in the league?
I hear he was actually getting involved with the WPSL team, but that's a separate thing. In Arizona as well, would you believe?
Oh, great.
Up in Peoria. But no,
Get him
Brett
on the
Lashbrook.
pod.
We are not getting Brett Lashbrook on the pod. I don't think he'd come on the pod with this, to be honest. I just despair. I don't understand it. I mean, they may well be having a major overhaul, but you don't. If you wanted to give this guy an ultimatum, tell him to finish the home playoff, and then he'll be back. All right?
It'd still be bizarre.
I mean, it's still way too much. I'd say playoff at this point. If you told him if you missed the playoffs from this position, we're going to move on because clearly you can't get over the line. Fine. But an ultimatum before Charleston away. When you're in the playoffs at a level you've not been at. But you know what that is? That's the kind of ultimatum you issue to a coach when you're at real risk of missing the playoffs and you're a big club in this league. Okay? Whereby it's like you're getting to a point where you got to do it because otherwise we got to pull the trigger. And it's pull the trigger now, not like end of the season. I just don't understand the decision making. I don't.
No.
I don't.
It's so weird.
Utterly bizarre. Meanwhile, other news from around the league, obviously, loan signing in New Mexico. That's a bit, Rees. Come on.
I forgot who it is. I'm not going to lie.
Carlos.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, down from Louisville. Interesting, because they've been struggling, obviously, as of late. They brought Valentin Noel in as well down there. So, what do we think about New Mexico? Good enough to bounce back or going to struggle?
I feel like they are. I don't know what their schedule is down the stretch of the season. I know they got Rising in October. But, I mean, again, I think they've got good enough pieces there that I do think something can come together. I know it's been bad, but they've also had difficult matches in that run. I mean, a draw against Vegas is bad, but they've lost to Charleston. They've lost to Pittsburgh, a really good Hartford, or informed Hartford, rather.
But the scale of the defeat, though, in games like Hartford, I think, is where it as much as it's not, you know, as much as, yeah, you can understand a loss there, I think losing 4-0 in a game like that isn't really acceptable, I think, if you're a team that wants to compete.
I mean, Alex Tambakis in that game. I mean, we know
the all-time USL Championship saves leader actually confirmed in that game, by the way.
He hasn't played since. It's been Chris Shakes.
Because he's not good enough.
He's not. No, he just simply isn't. I mean,
there's a reason the guy is the all-time saves leader in the 2nd division in this country.
And he's
because he's not good enough to play anywhere else. The guy's only success is longevity in a 2nd-tier league.
The only time he's played outside of the... I mean, like, he's played 5 appearances in the Greek Super League a decade ago. That's his only non-USL appearances in his career. That's a USL lifer. Just, I just can't. I can't get started on Tambakis. It won't end well.
We can't, to be fair, because our neighbours to the east will start throwing things back at us, like about the airport roof. And all funds like that. I mean, do you see that? We had a fun chat with Pa today about the storm that came in the other day.
I mean, that was something.
Oh yeah. It really, really was. Anything else? We're running out of time, so we better get this in right now. Rees, it's time to laugh at Manchester United.
Oh my goodness me! How do you get knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Grimsby Town
on penalties? 13 rounds. It went 13 rounds for Grimsby, and they were not good penalties, the ones that they missed.
No, they were bad.
Oh, they were bad. They were bad.
It's very...
Rémi Cabral would have made those.
2-0 down. The best part is one of the Grimsby goal scorers used to be in United's academy.
Interesting. Also, fun fact, Christy Pym. I used to watch him a fair bit when I was a student reporter. Exeter City he was playing for. He was a Grimsby goalkeeper today. He was playing for Exeter City back when I was in Exeter, would you believe?
151 appearances.
He did make a lot of appearances over a long period of time there. Yeah. All right, Rees, last thing to add here?
I don't know. I don't really have anything I can really think of. I was just looking up USL Brownsville because I mentioned that earlier, and my brother talked to me about it. Like,
is this one of those teams that's not going to happen?
Well, the only tweet that I can find out about it is from the Mexican consulate in Brownsville. So
cool.
That's a team that's going to happen.
Sounds legit. Right. Well, if you want more fun insights like this, you can follow Rees at Rees11_. You can follow me at OJEvans18. You can follow Max, but I don't know why you'd want to. You can follow the pod at PHNX_rising, because double the underscore.
Double the clubs in Brownsville, Texas.
There we go. You can follow our producer Shane as well, by the way, at Shane Deef. We will be back here. Well, I won't be back here. I'm going on a little trip, but I will leave you in the safe and capable hands of Mr. Goodall and the guy who wasn't here today. Next week. We will, we'll see what happens. See if Max can keep it on track next week. I don't know. Can
he? His ad reads will be rough.
Worse than mine. I was doing them ironic, like he can say the prospecting thing. I'm ironic.
That's fair.
It's okay. We're just mocking Max. Remember, it is a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful
when Max isn't here.
There we go. See you next week.
We all silly like the mayor.